Mr. Vice President, Your Excellency, I know that today we're battling with a very high interest rate. This interest rate is now saying that we should fight inflation.
So guys, welcome back to this channel. Today we are going to be talking about how Dangote was lamenting about TINUBU'S government. He wasn't happy at all in what is going on in Nigeria. Indeed the rich also cries. The chicken has finally come home to roast. It is pleasing to see the so-called elites in Nigeria crying over bad government policies. It means they are not excluded from bad governance. They are not excluded from bad government. The bad government will touch everybody, irrespective of who you are. Shepi Tobi once said something about bad government. He said bad government knows no tribe. It does not know if you are Igbo, does not know whether you are Yoruba or Hausa. It will touch everybody, because there's nowhere a Muslim will travel on a very well paved road. Then Christians will now travel on a bad road. There is nowhere Muslims buy bread cheaper and a Christian buys it more expensive. It will touch everybody. It will touch everybody. Ever since Tinubu became the president of Nigeria, Dangote has been lamenting. He has been lamenting. It is okay for people to lament too, but in this case, we are talking about the richest man in Nigeria. He's lamenting. Imagine the pains and the lamentation of an average Nigerian. I don't even feel for him, because when we are going from one place to another asking people to vote for a competent person, Dangote's voice was nowhere to be heard. Yes, he didn't say anything because he knows he was going to support Tinubu, and now he's lamenting. He's only crying out because it has affected him. Yes, he's crying out because the thing has affected him so badly that he cannot even keep it to himself. Now he's lamenting. So guys, I will leave you guys to watch this video, and I would also want you to air your views in the comment section. Please, if you are new to this channel, please do well to subscribe, like, and also drop your comments below. I'll see you guys in my next video.
Mr. Vice President, Your Excellency, I know that today we're battling with a very high interest rate. This interest rate is now saying that we should fight inflation. I'm not an economist. I'm just a local businessman. But, Your Excellency, the other countries, why did they jack up interest rates? Because during COVID, the G7 countries pumped money into their economies to the tune of 18.9 trillion. So their economies were over, they were over, they are evaporated with so many things. So there are so much of money chasing few goods. So if you have so much of money chasing fewer goods, it means that everything is going to go up. But Your Excellency, during COVID, we did not, and I repeat, we did not reflect any economy at all. We didn't do anything. The only thing that we did was sharing of palliatives. I'm not talking about Nigeria now. I'm talking about Africa in general. There's no any African country that can. Maybe some few have actually given lower interest rates, but right now, Your Excellency, at 30%, there's no way anybody can create jobs. If interest rate is 30%, there won't be any job creation, because we're actually stifling growth. So interest rate can remain 30, but then no growth will happen unless that interest rate goes down.
Now let's take a look at what Dangote is saying. In a bid to control inflation, the Central Bank of Nigeria raised the interest rate from 18.5% under President Muhammadu Buhari to the current 30%. What this means is that when manufacturers, business owners, they go to borrow money, they now pay more in interest rate than they used to pay under President Muhammadu Buhari. Of course, it was 11% under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Buhari took it to 18%. Now let's break it down for clarity's sake. For instance, under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, when you go to the bank to borrow 1 million naira, your interest rate will be 115,000 naira. Under President Muhammadu Buhari, the interest rate will be 185,000 naira with that same 1 million. Under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you are paying 300,000 naira. Yes, you see how it has increased from Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to President Muhammadu Buhari to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Do you see the gap that Tinubu took the interest rate to? That is absolutely outrageous, and that is the reason why everything in the market has gone up in price. It is not the dollar rate. We will come back to that. As far back as February 2024, when the Central Bank of Nigeria raised the interest rate to 26.5%, Mr. P2B of the Labour Party raised an alarm regarding the high rate of interest rate, how it will affect Nigerian economic activities and also cause unemployment in the country. Now let me read you the words of Mr. P2B as he put it verbatim. He started off by saying this in quotes. Let me confess that the label of being a vintage Onitsha-based trader does not in any way confer on me the status of an economic expert. With my vast trading knowledge and my involvement in the real sector, I have a strong opinion that the recent decision of the Monetary Policy Committee to increase the monetary policy rate (MPR) to 22.5% and the cash reserve ratio (CRR) to 45% will further worsen the economic situation of most Nigerians' households, as it is bound to cause more job losses in the productive sector. I want you to take note of the word job losses, especially manufacturing and other sectors that rely on bank loans and credit facilities for their funding needs. Tightening liquidity in the financial system does not improve productivity, i.e. food production, which is the major cause of inflation in Nigeria. Moreover, only about 12% of 3.6 trillion naira of the total money circulation is in the banking system, which means that 88%, about 3.2 trillion, is outside the banking system. So, this measure could rather be counterproductive, as it will not address the intended purpose of managing the money supply. These new measures will worsen the fragile economy, as the supply of funds will dry up for the real sector, and the new MPR rate hike will push the interest rate on loans to above 30%. Now, listen, P2B said this on February 29, when the interest rate was 22%. He predicted that the interest rate will rise to 30%. Today, that interest rate has risen to 30%. That is why Dangote is complaining. Let's continue. He said, which will be very difficult for the real sector operators, especially manufacturers and SMEs, to repay, resulting obviously in increase in bad loans and worsening the nation's economic situation. P2B did not just end at criticizing their interest rate. He went on to advise them on what to do, and he said the most critical way to manage our high rate of inflation and decline in production is for the government to address the issue of insecurity in the country, which will allow for increased food and crude oil production and an overall increase in production, which will make product, especially food, cheaper. This way we will increase our productivity as well as restore the confidence of FDIs and FBIs to come back to the country. I must caution that what the Nigerian economy needs now is high-headed practical originality and result. Tinkering with classical economic theories can only deepen our crisis. Did you listen to his words carefully? Everything that P2B said is what Dangote is facing today, is what Dangote is lamenting today. When P2B was saying all those things, they said he's crying because he lost the election. Now, I wonder what they're going to tell Dangote. Dangote is a manufacturer and he's in the real sector. Whatever he's saying now is what he's facing. It has touched him, but he don't tell him. The renewed hope has shown him renewed SHEGE, and he's crying.